Just saying hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. I'm not sure.
Testing. Cool.
I think I've got the dodgy mic this week.
Oh, really?
Never mind. I will speak up, and those online can hear me through this one. Good morning. My name's Dave Newman. This is Scott Glew.
G'day, everyone. How you going? Yeah, good.
We and you are all Morning Startup. Morning Startup's been going since 2012.
You know what tomorrow is?
Birthday.
12th birthday. That was the day we had our very first meetup at a coffee shop. 12 years. Every 2 weeks. Thank you.
Now what? 6,500 members, community members.
Obviously. Yep.
Yeah, not all here today.
6,500 in the room. Who hasn't been to Morning Startup before? Okay, cool. So we do this every 2 weeks, rain, hail or shine. We'll have a speaker, usually, but today that speaker is us.
Yeah, it's the first time ever, actually, I've presented.
Really?
In the,
no way.
how many, 10 years of doing this? So
okay,
10, 11
well, I'm
years,
looking forward to it. I should actually just sit down and listen to what you've got to say.
No,
I think I'll do that. So 2 weeks ago we had a pitch event, and we had 8 startups get up and pitch, and Dave's bright idea was, there's a few things of these pitches.
Actually, someone came up and said the feedback that I gave to some of the people pitching was brutal. And I actually didn't think it. I thought it was really soft. I've heard stories where I've personally been reduced to tears, and maybe I may share that with you. I should actually put a picture up there of it, of a story. But I didn't think it was brutal. And one thing that I did learn from the pitches is that we've got really bad at pitching in the things. Some of them are okay, but I think if I was to be honest, none of them would ever cut some of the pitching contests that we've seen here. And so we thought, you know what, we're not going to tell you how to pitch, we're just going to tell you some of the fundamentals that they won't tell you when you're learning how you structure your pitch. And so I think that's probably the important parts that kind of maybe help you define what your pitch is. So
Anyway, we'll get into that,
yes.
I think. But first of all, we do this. Shameless plugs and announcements. So especially if you're here for the first time, we'd love to hear from you. And, just like a 10-second get up and tell us what you're about. Hi, I'm Scott. I run a company called Fast For You, and I'm looking for a CTO. Something like that. Who wants to go first?
We know who you are, and we will point to you. And go on.
All right.
Then. You got the mic with the sound.
This is not my first time here, but I'm preparing for my pitch, so this will be a very valuable thing for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's just a startup related to construction. So currently I'm participating in a competition, which is in MENA region. And I think we will know if I will be qualified or not in 2 weeks. So I've already made it, but to the final stage I'm talking about now.
What's your name?
My name? Oh, sorry. My name is Abdul Rahman. I'm an engineer. I graduated from the University of Adelaide in South Australia, and then I moved here for a job. And I resigned, so I'm now pursuing entrepreneurship, and I'm trying to start my own company. So if you are working within the construction space, please reach out. I really want to validate my idea. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's way cool.
Does
it have a name? Like, is it online?
Not yet, but the name is D60 Vision.
D6.
360 Vision.
360 Vision.
This man apparently put his hand up here.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Because this lady made you put your hand up.
Hi everyone, my name is Roberto. I have a startup called Squadron. I joined Venture UWA, Chloe here. So they have been helping us during the last 5-6 months to get the business running. We use drones and mini drone-like shows for STEM engagement. So we teach AI, coding, and spatial science. And here to learn more about pitching. Thank you.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Ali. I'm a business advisor with the Small Business Development Corporation, and I'm here because as part of my work we're getting lots of people come through with startups and inquiries and stuff, so we're just trying to kind of understand a little bit more and know more about the space and where we can maybe refer people to and things like that.
Fantastic. Where do people go for small business advice?
We're at 140 William Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it.
It's a good trip. Okay. My name's Lawrence. I've got a client who's just got funded for a startup in
augmented reality, extended reality. So we're actually looking to for people who've got good math skills or graphics. So if you know what a quaternion is, contact me, because we're looking to see what kind of talent is out there.
All right.
Anyone on this side brave enough?
What was the technology you just mentioned?
VR.
No, there's... Oh.
Hi, my name's Kevin. I'm trying to create a business to help autistic adults with unemployment problems, 70% unemployment. So I'm seeking ways to do that. At the moment, I'm researching how best to tackle that. And my nose is taking me down a cybersecurity route, and I know very little about that. So if anybody knows a lot about it, let's talk. Thanks.
Fantastic. Awesome. A noble cause. Anyone else? Shameless plug. Announcement.
Behind you.
Hey. All right.
Hi, my name's Jackie, and I'm starting a creative life coaching business that helps inspire creative professionals live their dreams of being independent and abundant worker, living their dreams. So that's what I do, as well as my own stuff.
As well as your own stuff.
Yeah, well, I've got to, be the leader.
Good. Who wants to live their dreams? Anyone in the room? All right, we'll have a conversation with them afterwards. Okay.
Who's not heard of Westech Fest? Yay! Tickets are on sale. One of the country's biggest tech events for the week. Come fast approaching, first week in December. If you haven't, check out Westech Fest or WTF and go and grab your tickets. There are events from Monday through to Friday. Everything from, they've got a new event called Coast. Everything from the main event, which is actually Westech Fest, which is on the Wednesday. You've got Frio Fest or Tech, which is on the Thursday. So go and check out, get tickets.
Ton of good events. One thing on the discount code, we worked out, you got to choose the startup founder ticket type. If you choose general admission, it doesn't work. So just choose, startup founder ticket type. WTF 23 morning for 15% off. All right. And I think this is still open for expressions of interest. Not 100% sure, but you can get a stand there if you want to. If you want to get in front of investors and the Perth startup community, go and grab yourself a stand. That's Startup Alley.
This is your, mate, I never go. This is you.
Dave lives in Mandurah, so he doesn't come to this one, but it's good. We've had a whole ton of events. In fact, I see a few people in the audience today that have found a Sundowner regulars. Every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month down at Newman Brewery, just come along and have a drink and some pizza and meet up with other startup folk. It's, been getting a good crowd coming along lately.
Yep. A big thank you to the New Industries Fund and the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation for their kind generosity to sponsor and to stream this to the regions. We do appreciate it. If you haven't, check out some of the great initiatives they've got for wa.gov.au/NIF. They've got programs like Innovator of the Year, right the way through to Waves, which has obviously brought a number of new, or helped get a number of new VCs set up here, who are all now making active investments. One close to my heart. And if you haven't, check out wa.dealroom.co. Gives lots of information on what's going on here, the companies, size, are they raising money, etc., etc.
Yeah. And if you haven't already, head there, wa.dealroom.co, put your company on it, put some up, put some info. Please do it. And thank you to the awesome video people at the back there, perthvideo.com.au. If you need some live streaming help, check them out.
Cool. And I'm going to move to the side, and in the photos, Ammo Marketing.
We got your banner up, Cam.
Ammo Marketing again. Ammo Marketing. If you haven't checked out Ammo, make sure you check them out. Great marketing company. Really help you get your name out there. And if you haven't as well, check out the Weird Growth podcast. Have some great celebrities on there every time they produce one of which is Mr. Glew here. Who's been on
awesome celebrities.
On their podcast. Generally from founders or people in the ecosystem sharing their stories, sharing some of the experiences they've got, getting into deep conversation with Jack and Cam. So definitely check out Ammo Marketing.
Does anyone not subscribe to the Weird Growth podcast? Good. Oh, do it now. Get your phone out, subscribe. It's awesome. Beecham Group. Who needs talent? Who needs staff?
No
Who's
Glenn.
got talent and needs a gig?
Oh, there's a text. Hi guys, apologies, but I am at...
So yeah, Beecham Group, boutique recruitment company here in Perth. If you need gigs, need talent, check them out.
And if you're looking for your next job, check them out as well.
And these guys help us run this meetup group. They pay for our meetup fees and
Yeah,
things.
so just be clear, we don't take any physical cash or wages. We do this for the love.
Yes.
Scott and I are volunteers.
But it does cost money.
Cost us money. This place we get for free as well, but it does cost us money to run meetup and give you guys beers and pizzas.
And the food at the back.
And the food at the back. Kindly donated by
Keep
Space.
Space. Is anyone in e-commerce? Need warehousing, logistics? Good, okay. So they've got a warehouse.
Last mile delivery, is that?
Yeah, 3PL, all of that stuff. They can help you out. They've got a really good platform. A couple of warehouses, one here in Perth and one in Melbourne. And TechOn.
Who's looking for developers? Yes. Go and check out TechOn. Great offshore developers. If you haven't, Hayley normally is in here along with Patrick, but if you haven't, check out TechOn and have a conversation with them. They'll help you get your MVP prototype up and running.
And they're the ones helping with the coffee.
Yeah,
so if you go to Joey Zaz's and tell them you're at Morning Startup, they'll give you a coffee courtesy of TechOn. All right. And a whole bunch of supportive organisations. We'll just fly through these. Spacecubed, obviously we're in this space. They have a few spaces up and down St George's Terrace if you need a place to work.
Friday, great email comes in your inbox from Startup News explaining what's happening, who's who in the zoo. Great way if you're a bit like me, slightly detached from the startup ecosystem these days, but great seeing who's kicking goals and what's going on. +8, there's two accelerators. You've got the pre-sprint accelerator and then you've got the sprint or sprint and then the main accelerator one. All the +8 companies at the moment and the main one are over in the UK, just checking out what it's like to flip up to the UK. But if you haven't, check out +8, great way to kind of speed it your business. Startup WA, thank you. They're advocates for all the startup ecosystem with the government and helping work on creating government deals. So they're very much part of helping create waves and stuff like that. And last but not least, TechBoard. If you haven't claimed your profile, jump on TechBoard and go and start publishing some information there.
So this is all for the benefit of like people that are new to the startup community, just some good organisations to get around, especially Startup News. Go and subscribe to them.
I love Startup News.
Yeah. All right, cool. So as I said, we run this every 2 weeks. We're always looking for cool speakers. I think we're booked up for the end of the year, but if you've got something the Perth startup community would love to know, and you want to do a presentation, get in touch. Contact at morningstartup.com, or we're Morning Startup on all the things, LinkedIn. And if you probably from us, if you subscribe to us on LinkedIn, go and follow us on LinkedIn. That's where I'm putting sort of most of the content, and Instagram.
Do not message me on Meetup. I'm so sorry. I'm occasionally going like, there's a message there from January, and I'm like, never do it. Message us through one of these ones here.
All right. Oh, you did keep this slide in there. I thought you were going to take it out.
Oh, look, it's an oldie. Come on, there's a few smiles.
That's formalities out of the way. Good. Okay.
Right, anyway, to our guest speakers. So, the person that called me brutal is actually in the room today. So, but we're going to go through and we're going to explain, and a few of you also pitched. And so don't take this personally. We're essentially going to give you some of the feedback, because as we went back through, not to you individually, but we're going to kind of give you a generic kind of view of the world. And this is because Scott and I have come from the School of Hard Knocks back in the old days, back in sort of 2012, 2013, when there were schemes like Founders Institute here. And they were harsh, okay? They were really harsh. If you've ever heard of Founders Institute, again, I won't go into it too much, but they basically, if you didn't hit the goals, even though you've paid you like $1,700 to be part of the accelerator, they'll kick you out, right? And it's pretty harsh, and they'll literally give you feedback that can like essentially reduce you to tears. And actually, one of the stories is, like myself personally, when we were part of +8, the original one, I thought, I'm going to go meet the founder of founders, and we took a few of us who'd been on the founders course, and we'll go and talk to the guy, Dave Ressi, who in fact was Elon Musk's roommate. So if you ever read the book on Elon Musk, he's the guy in the story who kept stealing his desk and making it as a spray-painted wall art. But Dave personally reduced me to tears because I wasn't prepared in the pitch that I did when I was out there, and it was a real life lesson, and the way he delivered it was so harsh, it just cut so deep that, like, literally I walked out, I said to my wife, fuck it, I am not doing this startup life anymore. I'm going to go back, I'm going to get my boring job at Watercourt back, and I'm not going to do it. But it was feedback that was so valuable because it helps you kind of rebuild yourself and kind of get to the point where you're delivering a very succinct and clear message. And so I think we in Perth have possibly got too soft, and we possibly need to feed some of that back in a nice, constructive way. So that's why today we've gone through. So we're not going to tell you how to pitch. We're going to give you all the bits they don't tell you when you give a pitch. Okay? Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to, from my perspective, just to give you some background, like I run a bit of a lifestyle business, so I'm not out there pitching to VCs every day. You've just been through the griller, raising money and doing all of this stuff, so you probably have a deeper perspective on how to communicate that. But I'm always talking to you guys, listening to a lot of pitches, and also trying to explain my business to customers and people like that. So I think I've learned a few things on how to clearly communicate what you do as quickly as possible. So
you've spent time in the Valley as well, so you're more than qualified to kind of seen enough pitch fests and stuff like that. So
yes, I did spend 3.5 years over in California, and just going to meetups like this and seeing the way that everyone there is so, like, they're trained. They're trained on this stuff. They know it. Well, hopefully we can impart some of that stuff.
So today's going to be a bit of an interactive session. My first question is, why do we pitch?
To communicate the business idea or something.
Okay. What else? Why am I pitching to you now? What is the purpose of pitching? Yeah, but what's the ultimate? Come back to first principles. Why are we pitching?
To articulate the problem and the solution.
No, deeper than that. Anyone else?
Buy-in.
Sorry?
Buy-in.
Buy-in?
Meaning, like, getting people to buy into the business.
Yeah, getting closer. Okay. We
You want them to find out more.
Yeah, 100%. The reason you pitch is you have 3 minutes of hostile time where they've got to listen to you, right? And so you need to basically trigger enough of an interest for them to want to come and speak to you afterwards. Because, like I say, you go to the Valley, you go somewhere, watch these Y Combinator days, they will have 20 pitches, and so there will be 50 VCs in the room, and they'll be like, you've piqued my interest, I want to go and have a conversation with you.
It's like a movie trailer, like a Hollywood movie trailer. You're not trying to dump everything on someone. You want to get them excited. You want to go, fuck, that looks like an awesome room. I'm going to go and check it out. But they're not like giving away every punchline and giving away the entire story.
Just enough to kind of tweak their interest, just to go and speak to them offline. Question?
More a statement, I think. Sorry. But I think, like, the opportunity you gave everyone last fortnight is a really good opportunity to just get people out there and starting to practice talking about their business, because some people don't have that opportunity, number one. So I think they really appreciate that. So even though why do we pitch, obviously to trigger a conversation, but I think it even goes back before that. It's just to get people practicing talking about their business.
Agree, but there are two types. Now what we had last week was practice pitching. We should do more of them. But then you will be pitching for competition, right? And you will be pitching to be the one person. Sorry.
For investment.
Yeah, for investment. And so that's kind of how we're pitching today. So what should a pitch contain? And again, we're not going to go into this because you just Google it. There's hundreds, thousands of different ways, but ultimately it should contain the following.
And some of this you might not need. Like, if you don't, generally, yes, you need all of this stuff, but ultimately, you want to convey the value of your business. If you can do that in 3 minutes, like we had last week, right? Some of this might not fit. So choose the best elements of your business to get people excited about it.
And I would definitely recommend go and check. So there's two ways. They will teach a traditional way: problem, solution, who's the market, if you've got any traction, yada 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 for you. And that's okay. That's great. You need to be able to do that in 3 minutes. If you look at the way Y Combinator, and if you've never heard of Y Combinator, go and Google Y Combinator. they will pitch in a very different way, right? You will literally have people pitch up and sign up and go, hi, my name's Dave. I'm on my third exit now. The 2 ones all sold for 150 million each. I'm just starting my third. We're solving this problem in this, this, and this. I've got a great team behind me. Come and talk. Bang. And literally they will have people, because all of a sudden what they've done is in the pitch part, they've essentially given themselves credibility, you know? And I think that's the main thing, that when you're talking about the stage, is giving yourself credibility that you've been able to execute X million times before. You've got this idea and you're basically doing this. And this is why you'll see sometimes in the pitch, you'll see people go, they won't even introduce who they are. They say, hi, my name's Dave. I'm working on this. Have you ever had this experience with this problem? This is a massive market share. Da, 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 da. Yeah, my name's Dave. I've got 7 years experience in solving this problem for that. And they'll leave the intro of themselves later on in the pitch deck so that they then build the credibility. So what they've done is they've got the interest of the audience. They've kind of explained what the problem is, solution, and then they're going, look, this is why you should believe in me, because I'm credible, I can execute. And that's really key, is the ability for you to execute or understand the problem in detail.
I guess you got to remember that they're trying to work out, why the f should I listen to you? You know, and it comes down to 2 things, like, are you legit? Are you someone I should listen to, or do you have something I want, or do you have something that a lot of people want? So if you don't have credibility, like if you're a first-time founder or something, that's when you would dive straight into the problem and the solution and the awesome thing that you've made. But if you've got some credibility, kind of lead with that.
So, first big tip. If the person walks away from hearing you pitch and they are still unclear with your message, you have failed, right? Literally. The reason it's for 3 minutes is because if you can't get your message in less than 3 minutes, your message is way too complicated, all right? And that's why 3 minutes is like the universal term for pitching. In some instances, when we go to +8, and those who will go to the +8 pitches later on, we'll give them 5 minutes because it's a bit more relaxed. But 3 minutes is the universal pitch time. If you cannot get your message across to your audience in an understood way in 3 minutes, you're telling too much. You're essentially spewing to them. So, a little bit of tips. What is it you're telling the audience? Okay? So first of all, when you are communicating, have a very clear message as to what it is you're trying to explain. Also, have a message to say what is it. Even if you are just doing pitch tests like we were testing or practice last week or 2 weeks ago, have an ask, right? If you're going to be pitching to an audience's time, their time is incredibly valuable. I will never forget a phone call when I was trying to speak to VCs and the guy just said, look, you Aussies, and I'm like, I'm a Brit, but you Aussies love to chat and talk shit, but my time is precious, get to the point, right? And literally it's all about that. Get to the point as quickly as possible, be very succinct with your message. Explain to the audience, why should they listen to you? Right? In the last one, unfortunately, they're not here today, but we saw theatrics, right? They do not work. I tell you now, if you start to do theatrics if you're going to play on an emotional thread, you better be really fucking good at pulling it off. I've only ever done it once successfully, which was in a startup, which was when I pitched on an emotional thread, I pitched the fact that I said, hands up here, who's a parent? Hands up, who's a parent? Hands up, who's ever lost their child? I have once, in a crowd who got parted. And there's a lot of people that went, oh, fuck yeah, I can really relate to that problem. And that's where we kind of pitched that emotional thread. It was only startup weekend, it was practice. But that's how we went on to win, because we really knew how to pull on those threads and how to get a larger percentage of the audience to kind of relate to the problem. And so if you're going beyond and putting props and theatrics and other shit, you've lost the audience straight away. You
want to get the audience to empathise with what you're doing,
yeah.
And throwing orange balls at people might not.
Yeah.
To achieve that goal.
I wish he was here today, because we will be giving him some feedback. So again, the key ones are keep it simple. Don't things. If you're going to go rely on emotion, everyone's got a sob story. Do not rely on that as your reason, because if people just go straight through it and they want to get to the point in the nicest way. I love it. Everyone's got a sob story, but I want to hear the business. I'm here to talk business. That's what it's about. It doesn't even matter if you're a not-for-profit or you are still here delivering a problem or an outcome. Okay.
Yeah. So in your slide deck, I guess the very first you're going to have some sort of title slide up there, right? And that just sets the stage. And spend some time on this, like get a copywriter, workshop it a little bit. It should say, you know, the outcome of what your business achieves plus your special sauce a little bit. So some really cool ones are like VRBO. I think this is a US. Do we have VRBO here? I've used it. No, yeah. Where families travel better together. Like it's a little bit of sentence alliteration. It captures you better. It tells who the customer is, families, what they're doing. Right? We help you travel, and we help you travel better together. And it just kind of rhymes. So rhyming is good. Dollar Shave Club, shave time, shave money. Right? It's what they do. It's the problem that they're solving, all in one little sentence. So just a nice little intro slide is a good idea just to set the stage.
And I would recommend, it's not up here, but I would absolutely recommend, it's funny enough, I heard it because one of the speakers was talking on Cam's Weird Growth podcast around this book called Donald Miller, and it's called Story Brand. And if there's one book I would recommend you all go out and read about story brands, because it's just about keeping your message distinct. What is the story? What is the relation? 99% of customers or people, when they look at like a website or even the bits, will lose the customers, and reading story brand will really help you. I made all our execs, Gus included, go and read this brand, read this book, because it will really help us kind of get the messaging through as to what it is, what's the problem we're solving for our customers. And again, that's the same with here. Shave time, save money. Shave money. Right. Okay.
Yeah, just clever little words. It's good. And then you get on to, say, if you're not legit, if you don't have a background, then clearly state your customers, their problem, and your solution. So just speaking to people at wanting startups, it's often like, oh, we have a SaaS platform and it helps you track assets throughout. I'm like, okay, so what is an asset? Like an asset can mean anything from a financial instrument to a piece of pipe in a construction company, right? So tell me who your customers are. So you know how scaffolding companies, oh, no, I don't actually, I'm not a scaffolding company. Well, scaffolding companies have a problem where you've got all these bits of pipe that you make scaffolding out of, and it's often scattered across lots of different sites. And when you want to bring up a new site, they don't know what bits of pipe are going to come available for the next job. And, well, we have a solution that helps you track those bits of pipe so that you can save money and time when that next job comes up. It's like already I've sort of got it, right? I know who your customer is. So start with kind of the customer, then go into the problem that they have, and then go into the amazing way that you solve it. So we had a good talk. It was Josephine Muir from Noisy Guts. It was a couple of years ago. It's on YouTube. She went through How to Pitch Like a Queen was the title of the talk if you're looking on YouTube. And she talked about the Gaddy pitch, which is that, you know how?
Yep.
Well, we have, in fact. So those are the three kind of like sentences that you want to pitch. So
and again, I recommend that when I was in the States, when I was in the UK last year, we went on like a little VC kind of thing around part of London Tent Week. Again, they were all going Gaddy pitch. Like you know how this or and the other way I would also say is in StoryBrand they talk about when you talk about someone in an elevator pitch, very similar, is people's brains work a bit like Windows file systems. Right? So you kind of go, use the words, well, we're a software company, so I go, oh, I know software, and then think the next file system down does this, okay, I know that, and then I know this. So when you build your story out, go down as if you're going to that story, because you want to create interest for them to kind of ask questions or in that time you've got in an elevator. Mm.
The other one is like tell a compelling story if you can, preferably something that ties you to the problem. Like Dave was mentioning, if you've got an emotional tie to why you're solving this problem, that's always good. In fact, Plus8 demo day a few years back, they obviously got this advice because almost every pitch came up to try and tell a story, and they often followed the guise of, this is Jane. Jane has this problem. Jane, it sucks, and this is the way that we solve it. But it always led with, this is Dave. This is Jane. And every single pitch had the same thing. But they got a bit corny at the end, but it kind of works. So you're identifying with the customer. You're showing them the solution. You're telling a story, right? So if you don't have something that emotionally attaches you to the problem that you're solving, give that a go. And then throw some stats in there if you can. So N percent of the market have this problem. You know, did you know 60% of nurses, nurses spend 60% of their time not helping patients because they're doing admin tasks or whatever. So throw some good sort of eye-opening stats. There are a few pictures actually 2 weeks ago that did that. I think Paul came up saying, 50% of teachers are looking to resign or something along those lines. And that's the problem that they're solving.
I would also come back, and I'll get to it when we get to that slide. But again, keep it succinct, keep it 3 minutes. If you cannot explain, and then go get people that you don't know. So don't pitch to your family, because parents think, yeah, you did great. They know the story because they've had you in your ear talking about this problem for freaking years or decades. Go and talk to people who don't understand your problem, and then get honest feedback and go, look, how did this work? Can I ask you, what do I do? Ask them to tell you what you do to feedback. And if they give you something and it's not the same thing, you've failed. All right? You need to kind of regurgitate your pitch to get it to the point and go, I do, and it's really succinct for them to understand. Okay?
Speak to your customers, get them to tell you what you do.
So some tips. There's things you can avoid and things that you should be doing. So again, things that you should absolutely kind of avoid is we are planning to, we think that, we aim to. If I'm listening to you, it tells me you haven't done it. You haven't validated. You haven't spoken to customers. You haven't done this. You haven't done that, right? I want to hear all the flip side of that, and I want to hear next month we are doing this or we are doing that. So even if you haven't done it, don't say you aim to, because it's like mañana, Spanish builders. When do I plan to do it? Maybe tomorrow.
Whoa! Oh, there we go. It's back.
Oh, so. We've booked in to do this. If you're a medical company, we plan to do a field trial, or we plan to do medical trial. No, we're booked in to do medical trials. It's that sort of scenario. We have got a plan and the progress, because as a person listening to you, I'm going, okay, I know these guys and girls have got actions in their agenda to deliver on what they're saying they're going to do. And it's essentially try and put it all in the stuff that you're actually doing, not we plan to do this, or if we get so many customers, we'll do this, okay? I've stood here for probably about 6 months, 7 months less than yourself, because you buggered off to the States. But in that time, I've stood here, and there are so many times I've seen people come up to me, and especially when we had the bust time. Well, I think we're about to go into another bust time anyway, but when the bust happened, and those of you around in 2012, 2013, you remember it, so many people came off FIFO going, I've built this up, and they'd show me, and they go, this is going to be the next great thing in social media. And I go, how many customers you got? I haven't launched it yet. How do you know your customers are going to want the solution? Yeah? And it's so often, how much you spend? I spent like 80,000 on my redundancy. Right, so you've basically spent the majority of your redundancy on not validating whether or not your product is actually wanted or it solves a problem.
I'll ask him, how often are you using it? So, well, I don't use it because I've got no one to communicate with on social media apps.
Which kind of brings us a little bit segue into it. So one of the people that pitched last time basically was like, have you got any competition? And they turned around and they said, no. It is literally, you may not think it's a big deal, but it is the fastest way to lose complete credibility in a pitch. You have in this instance, somebody shouted out, you have a spreadsheet, that is your competitor, right? So it doesn't matter. You may think you are super uber unique. And I'll tell you another thing. When we used to pitch back in FI, I'll never forget one of the mentors would stand up and they would tell us that your idea sucks. And I'll say the same. Your idea does suck. Right? Your business idea sucks. The tone is that your idea has generally probably been done before. It's very, very rare that you've got an original idea. Like super rare. It's always been done in some shape or form before. If you think about the typewriter to the word processor, you can argue it in that sort of sense. This person who was bringing data together, like someone said, now, well, how people are solving the problem before, or are you creating a new market? In which case is, again, super difficult. So if you have bought a brand new product that doesn't exist, there's no one knows what it's supposed to be, you're all going to struggle. Again, that would be alarm bells to me as an investor, because I'm now going, okay, so this is actually genuinely a brand new product to market. It's never been done before, but now you've got a really hard effort to educate your market on why your product should exist, right? and what it's needed. So again, you will struggle there. So coming back to the whole thing, there is no such thing as you do not have any competitors. Ask the questions. How are people currently solving your problem?
Yeah. Like I'm just thinking that there's probably people in the audience still going, oh, I actually don't have any competitors. But like if you think of ChatGPT, right? It's just launched. You think that was a brand new product. Who was ChatGPT's competitor? Anyone? Google, right? Like how are people solving the problem? Like what is the problem that ChatGPT solves? It gets you faster access to information for exactly what you want. Yeah, the other way is a bit more painful. You got to Google it, you got to go through things, but or maybe you got to use a spreadsheet to do X, but it's solving the problem. So that's your competitor. It's painful, it's horrible, but and that's you should emphasise that in your pitch. Like, yes, we have people are currently solving it these painful ways, and that's the stuff that we solve.
If I don't see a slide deck that has competitors on it, again, it's a flag, because I need to understand. I will go and do my research, and as soon as I go and do my, you see people, they'll Google it straight away. They'll kind of look at the market and they'll go, no, we've seen it, and all of a sudden you've lost credibility. I've done it myself back in the early days, being naive, going, no, we're this. Yeah, but we're slightly different. It's like, well, no, you will lose credibility straight away. So you need to call it out. Got competitors. These are the guys, these are the girls who are competitors. What you need to call out is why you're different, right? And also, it's not always best to be first to market. And you can see that all the time. You know, Facebook was not the first social media platform to market. MySpace, you know, probably wasn't. Where is that now? So again, sometimes it's best not to be that first runner. It's sometimes best to be like the iPad or the iPhone or the iPod, should I say, was not the first music device that was on the marketplace. It was just they were the ones who were able to come after people had already educated the market in that sense, and so that's why they get market share. So you'll generally see if you can be second or third, that's always a good position to be in. Cool. What protection does your solution have from being copied? Now this was a big one, right? So this was a big one that came up in the couple of weeks' pitches. Is like, how easy is it for me to replicate your problem? And you will try as much as you want to try and protect it. But I'll tell you now, my business is super replicable. You know, people could replicate it if they wanted to. People can do the same for Scott's. Everybody's business in here has, even with patents, right? So we all talk, well, we've got protection. And having been through and gone through the whole process of getting the patent myself, again, I won't express my views. I'll let you talk to those offline. But again, you have got to get to the situation when we know companies who had trademarks and patents where they absolutely meant nothing. There's a friend of ours, some of you may know them, they had all of the trademarks to this particular name, but another company came in and said, I'm just going to come and wash you over with as much money as I want. You need to basically, I'm claiming that you're infringing me, and I've got more money to throw at it. In the end, they kind of went, even though they were legally there, they were like, okay, we're just going to sell out. And we basically sold the brand that they had all the legal rights to this other company because they just didn't have the money to fight it. So again, when you're looking about the protection, patents are great in certain fields, but again, sometimes speed to market can also be really, really quick. Okay, so again, be very clear on how you're going to do that.
We had another good talk at Morning Startup. It's up on YouTube by Casey Holliday. It was all around how to build a moat around your startup. Yep. So I don't think he had any IP. It was the rubber wedding bands. You know, it's like super duplicatable. You know, anyone in China could get that made for cents. But his moat was distribution. You know, getting into Best Buy, getting into all the retail outlets around the US. That was his moat because that's hard. That's hard to do. So.
Okay. So again, coming into competition, what is the current? How do people do it today? How do you know the difference? And also, this is a classic. On this, well, this was your comment, so I'll let you talk around that one. Big crap.
Yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, so this is just saying, you know, when you're talking about your competition, you don't need to have, you know, Bunnings and, you know, list out your competition. You just need to say, the current solution today is this, and use phrases like, you know, customers spend billions of dollars per year on crap that doesn't work, or they spend millions of wasted hours per year creating the same Excel spreadsheet, and all these alternatives have poor results. You know, can't be shared, can't be maintained, they look horrible, right? So use this in your pitch as a way to emphasise customer pain. So showing competition is just not a bad thing.
Who's got a company here at the moment? Hands up. Okay. Who is aware that they've got competition?
Good.
Okay. And you actively monitor your competition? Yeah, good. Okay, this is a good one. I love these ones. So, mistake number 3, we see no validation or traction. This is a big one, okay? So, I mentioned before, I wish I had $100 for every time someone showed me an app that they had no customers on. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on here, and we're at 15:15, so we'll go another 10 minutes.
This is where your pitch can't save you, by the way.
Yes.
If you don't have validation or traction, you shouldn't be pitching.
Yes. So, I'm a strong believer. There is a saying, you will hear me talk about it all the time, which is, are you a painkiller or are you a vitamin? Who understands what I'm saying when I said this? Yeah? A painkiller is, if I've got a headache, I'm going to take a paracetamol, right? I will not take a Berocca every day because I want my update of vitamin C's and D's and E's and all the other stuff, right? But I will take a paracetamol to solve a headache. So the question is in your business, is your business a painkiller or a vitamin? And there are businesses, not to say that vitamin-type businesses do not do well, absolutely, that's not, but generally painkillers are a lot easier to build and solve and, you know, the rest that goes with it. So ask yourself the question is your business a painkiller or is it a vitamin? Does your business solve a real problem? Again, we've heard these issues, like that problem may be so, you may have experienced that problem so hard, but when you pitch it to someone, you're like, it's not a problem. Is it a problem that needs to be solved? Right? Like, for example, how can I say this? Think of a problem that doesn't really need to be solved. You see it all the time. Gus, we've seen lots of them. Can you give me a solution where you think, shit, someone spent the money solving a problem that doesn't really exist? But you see it all the time, that people have gone, I'm going to invest a business in this. But there's also the flip side of it, just because I see it as not a problem that's worth solving, doesn't mean there's not a market there, right? So you have to ask yourself, the question is, can I make a business? And it depends on what is the size of the business. And I guess for myself, I definitely made that choice because some of you know, I was part of another business with a former business partner. When I looked at that business, I kind of went, that business I think will get to this, right, in the revenue, and that's okay. That's an okay business. It's doing really, really well. But I want to build a business that's this. And that's where the whole sunk cost fallacy came in. I was like, I walked away from that business to start what I'm doing now. And again, it comes back to that choice you personally as a founder got to make. Where is it? Are you solving a real problem? And are you willing to kind of put life's work into it? And again, if you go and Google it, there is a interview currently with the founder of NVIDIA, and the guys in the interview asked the founder of NVIDIA, goes, would you do this again? He's like, no fucking way. If you actually knew the heartache and the pain that you are going to go through as a founder, there is no way you'd do this again. We all know we would, because that's in our DNA to do it. But again, it's a really interesting video because it's like, you just don't realise the heartache you put yourself and your family through when you go through this. So again, does your business solve a real problem? Can you show traction? So again, coming back to the whole thing around, have you got a scenario? And I don't know if you've taken out, have you taken out my Happy Co piece? Is that a
No. I think that's later.
I'll mention about it, but I might skip it over. So I always used to, when I first started out, you'd hear the stories, and I was like, my God, you guys are heroes. Like, how the hell have you done this? And the story is that when I went to the Valley for the second or third trip, met with a guy called Jindo from Happy Co. He's got a few ties here. A company from Adelaide, right? They've got a big base, huge company now. And basically, they are a app or a platform for helping property management, okay? And so he had the story behind Jindo is he had a couple of rental properties, and he said, look, I've got this problem where I'm trying to manage when I go in with clients and that, and they're coming out of the property, etc. If I've got this problem, possibly LJ Hooker has, probably Ray White has. So we went to the local people in the area, and they was like, do you have this problem? They're like, yeah. And he said, well, if I built a solution, would you buy it? And they were like, yeah, I would. And got an MOU and started there and went back about 6 weeks, literally 6 weeks later with a real basic prototype and said, here it is, would you like this? They're like, yeah. And that kind of was the start of Happy Co. He basically got them to fund the development of the product. And I was like, my God, you actually get customers to pay for a product that doesn't exist at the moment. And it was always a real weird concept for me until Gus and I, Gus was, for those of you who know, Gus has worked together for many, many years, when we started going out to clients and basically got them to pay for products that we then own the IP for. So we had one of the biggest therapy companies pay for a scheduling tool that we own 100% of the IP that we've baked into our own product. Yet they didn't really cost us anything internally to build it. They had a problem. They were like, this problem is worth $3 million to us a year. We're willing to pay $500,000 to have it built. And so we basically got them to pay for the costs and the development of it. They were our first customers. They were the first validation. If you can build your company that way, you are onto a winning streak. If you are building and going, I'm going to build a car and then try and find my customers, you're going to fail. You're going to struggle really differently, which comes back to this sign here.
One of my favourite diagrams of all time.
Mine too. I cannot explain it hard enough. Build a skateboard, don't build the car, right? There's someone who's in health. Anyone here in health? Yep. There's a lady called Emily. She's called, if you're part of it, if you're in health, go and check out What the Health. And she's got this group. She's built this whole community, a bit like we've built this morning startup. And basically, she's done it using Slack. And then from Slack, she'll move it across into probably an app or something like that. But she's basically started with real basic terms and kind of bootstrap it together. And we call it Wizard of Oz. So your customers will see maybe this platform behind the scenes. They don't know what's going on, right? You may be running down. If you're selling gift cards online, what you're doing and delivering it, even though you've got this nice website that all of a sudden they get a code in email from it, they don't know that you're running down to JB Hi-Fi, buying a gift card, scratching off the code and emailing them the code. But they don't know that. They just get an email that says, here's your code to go and use for spending. So again, validate, first of all, your idea. Do not keep going, if you build that feature. If your customers say, well, I'll buy it when you build this feature, walk away. Or get them to put the money where the mouth is, because it's so important. You will end up just chasing and chasing and chasing, and you will not get anywhere.
Yeah, just I guess another story on that. I've got a family member whose job required her to live around the world, and she had this idea for an app that, to help people find the coolest places to eat in LA or Thailand or wherever it might be. And so she was going to go down the app development path, and I said, but how do you solve that problem in the most low-fi way first? It could just be an email, right? Just sign up for an email, and I'm going to send you a list of awesome places to eat in Thailand. That solves the problem. You don't need an app, and it's these if people are actually going to pay money for it as well. So you can put a site together with an email list and get people to buy it. So think of that. What's the most lo-fi way to solve the customer's problem?
So bringing this full circle back into why we're telling you for the pitching, because if you stand up and go, I've got this problem, I've got the solution, I need $500,000 to build my app so I can get my first customer, I wouldn't look at you, because you haven't got any validation. It's a problem, okay? And so that kind of comes back to, I see it so often when people are pitching, if only I had $200,000, my problem would be solved. Trust me, that's just a start. So again, which kind of brings me on to the next slide, which is, I don't know where we're going to jump around a bit, which is, I think, in most recently in StartMate. So who's heard of StartMate? Yeah, it's an accelerator over East. They literally said to all of the companies in the recent accelerator, if you go and talk to a VC, you're off the program. Go and talk to customers, but don't go and talk to VCs, right? Because it's a distraction from going to talk to customers and get customers' money. So the other one we see so often is trying to boil the ocean, right? This is basically you are trying to do too much. So there was one pitch, and then there's not alone, where you go, I want to do this. And then we also need to do this, that, and this, and this. So when we sit there and you go, well, fuck me, you are trying to boil the ocean. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? And why is it you've got to do all of this money work before you actually launch your product or you have validation? And so in this instance, we would say less is more. And as somebody once said to me, niche is where you start, it is not where you finish. And that is the biggest advice I can give to any company starting out. Think of Amazon. Started with just books from a garage. It's where they started. It's not certainly where they're finishing, with pins like rocket ships going into space.
Is there anything like building a platform that does a whole load of different things?
Do you mind sharing what you're doing?
Yeah, we're boiling the ocean.
Go on.
For construction. Yeah.
So is there one thing that you could focus on first to get an initial build out?
Yeah, that's what I've just made a note actually to make a question about that, is about how big do you go in your pitch because we have an initial vision that is the short term. This is how we're going to get there, but the big picture is, Z.
What's enough for your customers to part with their cash?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right.
So
is that what you're pitching in the pitch?
My question is what's the problem you're solving? Because you've got all of these different features, but what one feature in your stack is the one that's the money feature that solves the problem?
Yeah.
I would actually say this to everybody. Go through your product list and go, how many features can I kill? Yeah? Go through your whole list and go, I've got this feature, this feature, this feature, this feature, this feature, this feature. Which one actually means that you shouldn't have? Go and cut them off. You're laughing, aren't you? Yeah? It's so important. Yeah. And again, biggest advice. And if you're a marketplace, because the one that pitched, it was kind of come across as a marketplace. Well, where do you start in a marketplace? Is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the customers? Or is it the Uber drivers? Or is it the Uber customers? And again, it is a really strong balancing act. And I think a lot of VCs now are on top of what a marketplace is, and they understand the metrics. And so marketplaces are hard. Okay, so you've got to work it out. And again, it's around being niche.
Yeah, I think the one we're talking about was one he was trying to do a rental, rent share splitting app, as well as an app to help you renovate your home. And there's two completely things. Like if I'm renting a house, I've got that problem. But if I'm a homeowner and renovation, then I've got this problem, right? It's two separate things. Yeah. Don't try and build a real estate platform, focus on one. And
you're, again, trying to, as a person listening to you in the crowd, I've tuned off because the whole point of your pitch is you've immediately lost credibility. The second that happens, it's a thin knife edge. They turn off, they will not listen to any. You might have the money page on the next slide. You might get them back, but as soon as you do that, you've lost them. So, vague business model, just to speed up. Right. Okay, everybody didn't really have this in their slides last time, right? And it's so important. If I'm going to put money into you, I want to know how you make money. I want to know your business model. And again, I see this so often with all the companies I mentor. No one's actually worked out what it is to make money, right? And there was one company that I mentored last year, and literally got all the way for a program. And I said, right, let's do the metrics. And we sat on the board and went, how do you make money? Right, let's work out. It's going to cost you $140,000 plus 20% tax for a CD developer. It's going to cost how much do you need to operate for the first year? Right, you need roughly about $750,000 just to keep the lights on. Right, now then, let's look at your business model as to how many people that you need to come into your business model to make money, just to break even. And it worked out that they needed something like 1,000 people subscribing every month. How many have you got now? We've got 100 expressions of interest. Fuck me. And you've just taken this much money off a VC. Like there was the days of silly money. So again, you need to know your business model, you need to know the numbers, and you need to be able to be like Shark Tank. They will be able to eat through them like that. If you haven't, again, somebody will see through it. The other classic one is
if we only get 1% of X market, we will.
You lose me as soon as you say this, right? And again, the second one as well, the 3 and 4 are kind of linked, right? If you cannot make your business model work here in Perth, one of the most remotest cities in the world, why do you think you can make it work in Sydney? Why do you think you can make it work in the Valley? Question?
Population.
Bullshit.
We're doing a very different type of thing. We'll be able to get it going here, but we need a national...
That's fine, but you've validated your idea. Yeah. If you cannot make it, if you can't make it work in Mandurah, right, your idea is not going to get off the ground. I tell you now, flipping is really hard. I'm going through that process now, going to opening an office in Sydney. It's really hard. You've got to take the whole culture of the business, everything like that, across to another place and embed it over there. If you can't make it work here, you're going to struggle making it work anywhere else. All right? And so that excuse I would see through straight away. All right? There's got to be a real reason, like, for example, well, you can't open a mine site in metropolitan Perth. You know? So I'm going to go locate my business in Karratha or something like that.
And I guess the problem with if we only get 1% of this massive market, then that's X amount of dollars. You've got to think that through, because 1% of a massive market could be 100,000 customers, right? So how are you actually going to, what does your business need to look like to onboard, support, deal with 100,000 customers every month, you know? What's the plan to get there? What's the milestone? Okay, well, let's just try and bring on 10 customers as a start, and then we're going to get to that point.
Right, we're going to shoot through this. Somebody's in the room who was party to this in the last one. I will say, I think it was you. Yeah, I kind of felt like I was getting a product demo, not a pitch. So, but you were one of the better ones out of the ones there. So, don't end up. I don't want to look features. That 9 times out of 10 when you're pitching, I literally just want to know problem, solution, market fit. I'll come and have a conversation with you afterwards about all the features and benefits that come with your solution. So don't end up with your pitch being basically a very small 3-minute product demo. Okay?
Yeah. So avoid that temptation. I was going to say, like, instead of going into every single feature, state the dream, you know, where you want this to be, explain the big plan, explain how big the idea can get. Again, getting back to that movie trailer sort of analogy, you don't want to go through every single part of your business in a pitch. Just get them excited.
Yeah. Cool. And finally, this is super important. If you constantly pitch in a shit way, VCs do talk, right? They do share ideas. I guarantee they will have the conversations. VCs will regularly go and have coffees with other VCs. They'll go to South by Southwest, or they'll go to Adelaide, or whatever it is. They'll go to West Tech Fest. They'll be like, oh yeah, I've been talking about these companies in construction. Yeah. Oh, is that so? Yeah, I watched them pitch. Yeah, they've really got a lot of shit to work out before they're ready for money. And all of a sudden, that VC is going to go, I'm just going to put you on hold. So when your slide deck comes through, they literally, if you haven't got those things in a really succinct manner, you will unfortunately go to the bottom. Right? And again, I know that because I've had to learn the hard way myself.
You're on a do not touch list?
No, yeah. Physically. Yeah. Huh?
Just a time.
I'm still on it now. Yeah, and again, also when you go through that list, you know, you will go. Make sure when you go, if you are going to go and pitch for money, I'm still, even though I've taken money, I'm still very much in the customer money is the best money in the world to take, right? And again, everybody's different as to why they take money, but essentially you need to get back down to customer validation, which comes back to the whole point of, like, start, mate, I completely agree. Go and speak to customers. Like in FI. They would literally get to week 6, and if you hadn't had 100 validations of customers, you're off the course. Like, it was harsh. Like, they go from 20 to like 8 or 9 by sort of week 7 or 8. And they're just like, sorry, you didn't make the cut. Off you go. Good luck. Come back next year when you're ready. And I think we kind of almost need to get a little bit back to that, because you need to go back to the whole validating customer. VC money now is pretty much near impossible to get. You've got to show traction. So if you're going, oh, I've got this idea, I want to do this, I'm pretty very much guaranteed, unless you've got previous history to show how you can execute, it's very rare for you to get money, which is why you'll be back at your 3 Fs, friends, families and fools. Okay, or you might want to do a crowdsourcing, but I would say most importantly, go and stick to customer money. If you can get customer money, you are winning. Okay?
Who's on Startup Weekend? There's a few of my mates up there from my Startup Weekend team. Yeah, they always concentrate on that, right? So it used to be, oh, let's build a widget and chuck it on Product Hunt or something like that. That's cool if you can, but they really emphasise just speaking to people. Go and speak to as many people as you can.
In your instance, I would recommend go and speak to your clients or your customers and go, what's the one thing that they're using it for? And then they'll go, actually, it's this and this. And you go, right, all the other features you could remove, and you don't need to spend time developing that, because you could just be niche and good. There are billion-dollar companies, right? Billion-dollar companies that are on zero app store, right? So you that was like mind-blowing for me that Xero, we all know what Xero is, the accounting tool, that in their app store another unicorns exist, and that's because they do this niche thing so well, this one tool that Xero doesn't do, but they're using an ecosystem to grow their business. So again, just think about that, like when you're doing it. All right? Cool. Are there any questions before we kind of close for networking? And have you found it useful? Quick.
I guess so. Yeah, I was going to say, actually, this is the worst slide deck in the world. If you are actually pitching, don't do lots of words on the screen.
No, don't.
Maybe go back to one of those slides where it's just like the punchy, like like that, right? That's kind of what you want your pitch deck to look like. You just want to slide in a word, and then you want to talk. There was a presentation where he was just reading off a sheet, or don't do that. You want to move around. You want to sort of talk to the audience, and this should just support what you're doing. It should look good. Concentrate on design. Concentrate on copywriting, but don't do this.
So last but not least, I did mention customer validation. Happy Go, we've always spoken about it. Start small and prove your business model. Again, that's the main one. Prove your business model works. People willing to pay money for it. And then as mentioned, Startup Mate recently banned their companies from speaking to VCs because it gives them the wrong idea. There's some great resources here. Go and check those out. And if you have any questions, come and ask us. But this is kind of all of our knowledge, not all of it, but some of the knowledge that we've learned from years of pitching.
Yeah,
okay.
Apologies for the links. They're horrible things to remember. But if you Google those things, again, with Josephine Muir, she presented at Morning Startup. So you should be on YouTube and subscribe to Morning Startup. Go and check that out. The Startup Science Universal Pitch Deck, that just gives you 5 slides and you should populate these things with your stuff. So that's a really good resource. I like this one, Shane Puri. He runs a podcast called My First Million. It's the most wankiest title for a podcast ever, but I really like it. He goes through the pitch deck that's helped him raise lots of money. Really good tips in that one.
Any other questions?
Do you have a different pitch deck that you talk through than you send? Because obviously there are 2 different
So
yeah, good question.
Yeah, good question. Yes and no.
Yeah.
I would personally recommend you keep your slide deck that you send as succinct as possible.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can add an appendix afterwards, just more information. But generally, you've got to remember VCs will be seeing, if you are sending for raising money, VCs will be getting lots and lots of pitch decks. That's why you've got like the associates.
Yeah.
If you don't prick their interest in it, then you're not going to get any further because they'll be like, no. No, oh, maybe that one kind of. And also remember, some VCs are really vertical in the areas that they will invest in. So again, when you are going out to get money, VCs are always about relationships. So you need to build those relationships. All right. So it's very rare you'll get a thing on the first one. So you need to go and build a relationship with them. So get your list of VCs, maybe send them updates, have those conversations. It will take you 12 months, 6 months to 12 months before things like me. We took money from Purpose. I've known Derek and Kylie for years, right? And it's through that trust and that relationship and building that they came on board.
But yeah, a pitch deck with like one word and a picture might not work as well if you're sending it. So again, get back to that core value of, are you getting people excited about your business? Get that in them.
Two sort of thoughts. I guess one is my goal would be to get a meeting.
Great race.
Hi, is that on? Yeah, 2 thoughts. So yeah, my goal was to get a meeting, right? So I would want to not send too much information, but just enough. Because getting in front of them is the real opportunity. The second thing is, there's a lot of talk about VCs here. Obviously, they've dried up a lot. And for early stage companies, they're probably not that appropriate anyway. So angel money is better.
Customer money. Go use your pitch deck to send to customers. You know, send a pitch deck to customers as like an intro as to what it is, the problem you're solving, and use it that way. Any other questions?
Audio-visual aids. I mean, our companies are developing very much a visual product, extended reality. So would you put those audio-visual aids as like the feature distraction category, or could it be a supporting element? So
if you've ever heard of Loom, amazing tool. If you use Loom, Loom, Loom is a video tool. Basically, it's this desktop screening software that allows you to put yourself in the corner as a seller when you're talking. I regularly get emails from sales reps who go, "Hey Dave," really go pitching what it is they are. But it's really quick to go, okay, I'll invest 3 minutes of my time to listen to you pitch. So if you're sending a pitch deck, send a pitch deck, but maybe also send a Loom link so they can then just click on it and watch you pitch. And it's really easy. So it removes kind of any of the ambiguity because at least you can choreograph the message that you are sending out to people. But
will the audio video elements excite them about what it is you're doing? Like, will it? Yeah, but products can look crappy, and if people are going to say, "Oh, okay," or if they're going to go, "Oh my God, that's made Notion just shoves in, it's a new interface, all of that stuff, then absolutely, go for
Any
it.
other questions before we break for networking? Cool. We're here again in 2 weeks when we will have...
To be confirmed, currently speaking with the...
Not Dave and
the
Scott.
presented, it should be good.
Maybe Gus, you haven't done a presentation. But we'll be here in 2 weeks, rain, hail or shine, hopefully more shine. And then we've only got a couple more, because we're not doing West Tech Fest week, are
No,
we?
so there's only
that's
2 more
it.
morning startups before the end of the year.
There's only, what,
So
2?
Next 2 weeks' time, to be confirmed, and then after that we'll hopefully have Reese Weirden from Nowhere Man Brewery, who recently got acquired by Other Side, coming and doing a bit of a fireside
Cool.
chat and
That's
going
it.
through that transaction and how it all works.
2023 is done. Drop the mic.
And then West Tech Fest, get on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Apologies. We're going to put this room back to a co-working space, so I'll be moving around. And we have this space until 9. Use it to network, meet your co-founders.
Grab some
billion-dollar companies have been created literally, billion-dollar companies have been created in this building, literally over there. So,
Companies or company? I know you're talking about VGW.
Company. We're going to say companies. It sounds better.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Be the next one.
All right.
Hopefully that was
much.
useful. Thanks if you want to chat to us. Cheers.